I see the title of this upcoming film that we're going to talk about today. I have no idea what any. It's 4:30.
It's about the 4:30 movie.
A 4:30 movie at the local theater. I'm guessing that. I never did it, but maybe Kevin Smith did, and Kevin Smith, of course, from Clerks and all those great comedies from that are sort of like teen comedies and kind of whacked out there.
But edgy, kind of edgy ones. That's why he was kind of a big deal, because they weren't cleaned up or like rom-com kind of, teen movies. They were kind of edgy, and they're about kind of nerdy, quirky people. And I really liked his movies.
That demographic that now everybody tries to appeal to.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the old days before things like Comic-Con were so ubiquitous and everybody knows about it, those used to be little secrets that comic conventions used to be the safe place for the nerds and stuff. But Kevin Smith made, it's like things like Big Bang Theory or whatever, and Kevin Smith sort of invented that, I think, for this.
Mm-hmm.
Other directors before him had done it for their own generations, but he kind of defined a certain part of that kind of 90s vibe of the birth of the cool nerd.
Right, but in all those movies, like the Jay and Silent Bob stuff, or Dogma, which was an interesting movie, if you remember that one. Clerks 2, Clerks 3. Is that whole world. And I think, I'm guessing for the 4:30 movie is somehow in that world. I know it takes place in the 80s. So it might be sort of his kind of growing up and maybe his love of films or whatever. So that's all I know about it.
It's semi-autobiographical. And also I like it because it's analog, which makes it kind of fun already, because you're not having to rely on phones or social media. So I think it's kind of fun to take a dive into that.
Right.
So,
it's so nostalgic to think back to those days, because it's before my time, obviously, but I think about it and I wonder what it must have been like to live back in those days before cell phones.
What would that be like? How do people communicate? You had to go see people in person?
I know.
How did those old people survive without all those things? It's really weird. Yeah.
But the cast is fun. There's some, sort of newer folks that we might not know, but Justin Long, Jason Lee, Ken Jeong, Jason Biggs, Diedrich Bader, Rachel Dratch. people we've seen before. Rosario Dawson. So
cool.
Let's check it out. The 4:30 movie. Kevin Smith's
fun.
latest, coming out September 13th.
All right.
And
good, it's rated R. Yeah.
Rated R, under 17.
Not a red band.
Yeah.
She is unlike any nun you've ever met, and she's got a secret.
How come the nuns were never secret hookers when we were in school?
Let's see what's under that wig.
Oh, hell no! Say a prayer for Sister Sugar Walls.
We're definitely seeing that.
May 25th, 1986. Today is a big day. Last summer, I was too scared to ask out Melody Barnegat, the raddest woman I ever met. But this morning, I invited her to the movies, and she said,
okay.
Seriously? Hold on 1 second. Cool. I'll see you at the 4:30 movie, Melody Barnegat.
I'll see you at the 4:30 movie.
Well, holy shit, Billy Idol. When's the white wedding?
I've been thinking about asking Melody out all year. We made out in her pool last summer.
One time, with your shirt on.
And you wonder why you don't get laid?
I don't get laid because I'm Catholic. We'll save seats, you get snacks.
You can't give them cutsies when they get back. I'll tell my dad.
I don't care what you tell your dad, little kid.
Dad, he showed me his privates.
He did what?
You disgust me! You Three Stooges are banned for life! Suck my left nut! Not today!
So much drama. I thought we're supposed to be seeing a comedy.
Oh my God!
Hoorah! What in the damn hell?
What about me? Jesus Christ!
Most people come to movies to escape their lives, but people like you come here because movies make life make sense.
You're the coolest girl.
Yes, that.
And all I want to do is watch movies with you.
Is that so?
Mom?
What the hell are you doing sneaking into R-rated movies? You're in trouble, Missy.
I'm terrified by what's about to happen.
What do you want to do?
Have sex and get pregnant. That'll show her.
If that's what you need.
Remember Rocky 4?
Yeah.
When he just like punched him so hard.
Oh my God, that just
remember that?
It's climax.
He climaxed?
Oh my God. All right, that looked pretty funny. No girl ever said what she said. I'm sorry.
I know.
It never happens. No way.
That's a Kevin Smith dream or something,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's hard. I mean, like, did you guys see what was it? Licorice Pizza?
Licorice Pizza.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
No, I have not seen that.
Oh.
I did.
Okay, that had that was, I think, takes place about the same time, maybe a few years later. Yeah. And that sort of captured, at least, the Valley, California, sort of captured it pretty well. Maybe it was the cinematography or whatever sort of felt like that was the time. This is supposed to be the Jersey Shore, where he grew up in Red Bank, New Jersey.
Right.
And I mean, I kind of bought it. It wasn't so terrible that maybe it didn't have the cinematography or the feel of the 80s, but
the fake movie that they were showing in there just looked like they were on purpose bad, like made by somebody who's making a parody of a bad 80s
yeah
movie.
But bad movies like that look like that too. I mean, it's like I think it's being campy a little bit there, and he's just having fun with it.
And I felt like they just sort of made a present day movie, young people movie, but have them dressed in what you would expect 80s to look like, I guess. I don't know.
But I think everybody's 80s was different. We talked about the same thing when we talked about Bratz, where it's like, I think what I appreciate in this is that nobody looked like that cliche 80s with, mohawks and the bright colors and the big shoulder pads. Like everybody looked kind of like, kind of normal clothes with nondescript hair. It wasn't all like super fashionable. They made a few asides about 80s music or whatever.
Right.
But I think there were some kind of cute, fun in-jokes about, some 80s actors he's used before. It was kind of fun to see that. Jason Lee in there going, what about me? Almost like he's being called to be in the movie or something. It's like that. Right. I thought that was really funny. It's an 80s feeling, like a nostalgic feeling. It isn't necessarily, I don't think he's going for pure realism. I think it was more like an emotion and like that idea of let's go to the movies and try to go to the movie and sneak in or do, whatever they can do, because apparently they get kicked out. I just kind of like that idea that the movies were the center. And I loved her, that little aside inside the trailer. It says something like, some people go to movies to escape and some people go to movies because they make life make sense. And I feel like that's what I have always felt about movies.
Yeah.
Like everything everything I do, I'm like, that reminds me of this movie. Like I always put it in a movie category, like experiences, like this reminds me of being in this movie, or, that's just how I see the world, So I liked that little, you can tell it's made with love.
And I also think Kevin Smith's movies, he throws a lot of, like a lot of cameos, a lot of familiar faces in there doing a bit, and so there are a lot of bits, like in the Jay and Silent Bob's, a lot of bits, George Carlin pops in for 5 minutes, and I think they're sort of like, they're almost like they're skits around a general idea, and either the skits land or they don't land, and some are hit and miss. I think that's kind of how he makes films. I don't, Chasing Amy might be the exception to the rule, because that was more of like felt like a real film.
Yeah.
But if you see Dogma or the Jay and Silent Bob or Clerks, they're just bits kind of thrown together of his remembrance of growing up. And so to me, this is like Kevin Smith was probably in his 20s or whatever when this was made, or teens, or maybe as a high school guy. I don't know how old he is. Yeah. So I just feel that's his remembrances and his bits, and whether it works or not as far as the timeline, it's a vibe that's his vibe. Yeah. And you sort of have to say, okay, I'm going to get into and experience Kevin Smith's experience in the 80s, which is not necessarily my experience in the 80s, because it is different, as you said. So I'm okay with that. Like, it doesn't have to look and feel like an 80s movie for me to sort of maybe enjoy it, because I'll just go for hopefully some laughs and a feeling vibe. So.
I mean, it feels like it was made at least by someone who actually lived in the 80s. It's the 80s movies that were made by people who did not, and so they get the whole cartoony aspect of the 80s wrong. They either go too punk rock or too new wave, and they don't have the in between what most people were. So that's what I think sort of this is. Nobody looked super cool. Nobody was extra. It was like just kind of normal. Everybody's just kind of normal. Yeah. Normal kids going to the movies, because they were kind of nerds, going to the movies. But I don't know. I thought it looked kind of cute. I want to see it.
Well, the thing is to look at actual movies that were made in the 80s about young people. It's like the John Hughes kind of things. That had all the kids look basically like kids now, except with worse haircuts. And but then there was always like maybe the one sort of new wave kid or something, and it's like not everybody wasn't the new wave kid in the actual 80s.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just felt like the movies that they were watching in this kind of put me off. It looked like he was riffing on like grindhouse movies from the 70s, like the Nun thing, like a nun with a gun kind of movie. That's more like the drive-in grindhouse stuff from the 70s or something. I don't remember. I mean, if you guys think about the 80s, those movies that were the transformative, incredible movies that the 80s kind of horror movies. I feel like he was going for a different style with the movies that they were seeing, as far as like what you would really have been seeing and getting excited about in the actual 80s.
Unless that was a repertory showing 70s movies,
that's true. Okay.
Because in the 80s, like if I think of John Hughes, when I watched John Hughes movies, I was older than a lot of those people in there. That didn't really connect with me. I was just watching a movie about these kids that were they were kids that in John Hughes films. It wasn't my experience.
Right.
This movie felt a little bit more like my kind of the pudgy kid going to movies in the late 70s, just enjoying, just going with my buddies and never talking to girls and just sort of sitting there and going home and say, that was a really good movie. I'll go see it again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
yeah.
So listen, it's fun to talk about. I think it's nice to see a Kevin Smith film. I think he brings a certain something, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it could be fun.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
And we'll go see a 4:30 showing of it. Maybe that'd be cool.
That would be kind of awesome.
Very meta.
That would be very meta. There should be he should be at a screening of it.
Yeah. And who knows? This is the trailer, not the movie.
Yeah.
We'll take a look.
Yeah, I can hope it's better than the trailer. Maybe I will see it. You guys can talk to me.
We'll see it. We'll make this another. Can we talk Burk into it?
Before seeing the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, so funny.
All right, everybody. Thanks.
All right.
See you guys soon. Bye.